We'll call the meeting of the BBSelectmen to order. First, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we've got one public hearing tonight. It's for the Booth Bay Harbor Country Club map R7 Lot 2B located at 33 Country Club Road. Renewal of liquor license, golf club, and special amusement permit Class C. Dan, any problems with them in the past?
No. I'll make a motion, so.
Seconded.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any comment? Any public comment? There being none, all those in favor? Wonderful. Go this way and then go there.
I got my special.
That's it for public hearings. Public comment.
There's none for the night.
No public comment?
There
is.
We noticed that.
That's only because Dickie wants us to spend money.
We're getting there. Gonna be here every week, right? Good.
Okay, move on to reports, Dan.
All right. Pretty low level. Public Works is starting their spring projects, putting the floats in, some of the rest that were ready to go, patching the hot top, etc. Just gearing up. I talked to Mike. He did gear up a couple of trucks with plows, just to foil Mother Nature tonight, hopefully. Code enforcement currently has 4 building permits, 5 plumbing permits, and 2 septic system permits that came in. The business office has almost finished the town report and have completed a lien waiver issue for a property. So one of the items that came up that I think is something that's on everybody's radar right now is the Joint Economic Task Force. And from the feedback I've gotten from the harbor, it looks like May 6th is probably the best date. My suggestion to them was we all wait until we go through each of our meetings because I think it's just going to be difficult otherwise. But the feedback I've gotten has pretty much been May 6th. So I just wanted to ask the board if that was going to work for them.
Yeah, with Dan.
We can. Yeah, it's not on there, is it?
Okay, so I'll send out confirmation to Tom Wooden tomorrow, and he can feed that information over to his board.
Should I wait to my second public comment since it's a different topic?
That's it for reports, Dan?
That's it.
Okay, we'll move to old business. Personnel policy. It's my understanding that we're not ready to adopt that yet, correct?
That we're not, it's currently undergoing another level of review by Pat Dunn, sent to her by Sally Daggett. She's just kind of cleaning up some of the things that she thinks are either, low level or that we need to have in there.
Okay.
But I don't think we're too far out on that.
Okay. So motion to table?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? We'll table it till the next meeting. Gary Arsenault proposal, which we've got this.
Yeah, that's just the latest on that. I know Dale had raised the question at the last meeting, and I got in touch with Gary, and essentially what he said is he didn't really need to go to LEDs because they were going to be more expensive, and we wouldn't get quite the rebate because they're already energy efficient. And with the level of use that the lights have, you're essentially they're going to be long lasting as is. So we just simply got better bang for the buck.
Okay.
So we made it in by the time, correct?
We did.
Good.
Yep, that there is just to show you that's confirmation, essentially saying that I accepted their policies and terms.
Okay.
So, do we actually have to accept that at this point in
No,
time?
because
We accepted it last time.
We accepted it last time.
You just wanted that question
Right,
answered.
we just, you wanted your question answered about LEDs.
I got it, I'm happy.
Okay. Next, we'll go to the paving proposals, which is last year's paving proposals, correct?
Correct. And we're waiting to hear back, for those of you who don't know, Crooker had a change of ownership. So Mike's still kind of waiting to hear from the new lead man. But I think Mike and I talked about it, and we anticipate that if anything, we'll probably see a slight drop in what you see there.
My feeling is if we don't see a slight drop, I think we need to go to bid. Or I'd say more than a slight drop, because oil was $100 a barrel last year at this time. It's 50. And asphalt's driven by oil, so I'd love to stick with Crooker. But, I mean, they.
Well, Mike has seen, he talked to another vendor just to touch base, and they were down. I don't know, I don't have the exact number, but he did indicate that they had also dropped, so, I mean,
The plan-
all indications would be that we're gonna see something better than what you have right
The
there.
plan still is doing Beath Road this year, I assume?
I believe so. I think that was the discussion last year, and, just wanted to bring it up before the board again.
It'll flatten out.
It's like a war zone now.
It's awful. I went across it twice in the Y van. Wow.
Oh, yeah. Any questions for Dan on that?
Nope.
That's it for old business, unless you've got anything written down since you printed this.
No.
Okay. We'll go to new business, which is why we have the fire department here. Booth Bay Fire Department, fire apparatus proposal. We all have one of these. This topic came up actually today because I was in the town office when Dickie came in, but he had a proposal for a used one.
Well, yeah, I can give you kind of an overview here of what, we started this, I'm here with Timmy Pinkham, who's the lieutenant, and also he's the chairman of our truck committee. We actually started this about 5 years ago. The way the town's set up, what we feel is the best protection for the town is to have a tanker and a pumper on each side of town, which is what we have now. We have a big tanker in the center station and a pumper, small tanker and a pumper in the East Booth Bay Station, and that's perfect. The tanker we want to replace, which we've talked about, is a 83, holds 1,500 gallons of water. And for quite a while, it's been rusting out. We've patched it, and it's a bear to drive, and, it's 32 years old. And I think it was 4 or 5 years ago, maybe longer, we checked to see what it would cost to bring it up to NFPA standards and do some safety things on it, and that was around $70,000. So about a year ago, we thought we could get a used one, and we've been looking a lot. And we've looked all over the country, and Timmy can fill you in on that too. And there's a lot of trucks out there, a lot of them have a lot of mileage. Some are fairly good, they're a long ways away, but they're still a used truck. And there was a problem with some of the ones we found, that they used some stainless steel from China that wasn't up to standards, and they rusted out on the inside and rusted out through. And there was a whole bunch of trucks made, so you had to be careful looking. The best deal we found, had come up recently, it was a white, Stevie said it was a beer truck, but I don't know what it was, a 2002 chassis, International, but it had 175,000 miles on it. And we put a package together with K&T with a new tank, a small pump, and just a basic truck, and that came out to like 131,000. And we got figuring, if we bought a brand new chassis and had a brand new truck, we could do that for probably around 180 to 182, and we wouldn't have to worry about it for 30 years. And that seems to be the way that we're thinking now. I mean, we have looked hard, and if you've got any questions, but I think that's the way to go for the town. I think it would be better, 30 years from now, they can address it again, and that would be good for the town.
I can't see spending 132,000 really on a used 175,000-mile beer truck.
And it's a
You
basic
can get
truck,
it
we're not looking for anything fancy. We're looking for just a tank truck with a dump valve in the back, NFPA standards. We want a single axle, because we want a small truck. And the one you see in the picture, is spec'd out at 1,800 gallons, so it has a few more gallons of water. You have to be careful you don't get over that weight limit with a single axle, because it's a small station and we have to be sure the height. From what I heard from someone today, the 4400 series is 6 inches lower than the 7400 series. So, you know, probably we would go with the lower one to be sure it made it to the station. But that's kind of where we stand. We're kind of looking for a direction on that, and I know we have over half in our capital fund, and we, you know, so I know, I'm just looking, we're looking at what direction to take. I mean, that's our opinion. We think we should go with a new truck, and anything we can use off the old truck, we will definitely, like the drop tank, we got a fairly new one. We've got fittings and some stuff, but just take everything off that we can use, radio. So that's kind of where we stand.
After our conversation today, did you look at the warrant wording? I believe the way it's worded now is we can expend the capital fund without going to town meeting to purchase a individual item. It's, as long as it's in our capital.
That
Plan.
is the way that the wording reads.
So we could, we budgeted $100,000 for next year, which begins July 1, for a fire truck. We didn't budget 180, we budgeted 100. But Dan could move some things around in the capital to be able to purchase a new fire truck rather. I mean, I just can't see buying, we'd be a lot closer to our 100,000 with a used one, but you're gonna be back in this same boat 5 or 10 years from now. I mean, heck, we got 32 years out of the one we got now.
Yep.
If we get 32 more years, it's gonna be someone else's problem.
Every truck we have is an international, and this, if we went with an international again, and on 2 of our trucks, we bought the apparatus ourselves, and then we bought it, and then we put it out to bid. And that might be the way to do it again. I mean, it worked well, I thought. That way we have the apparatus, and we put it out to bid, and,
Less markup that way.
you know.
I mean, you've done a lot of your homework, I mean, and the reality of it is that all the used ones are about the same price, correct?
Yeah, I mean, you can find ones for mid to upper 70s, but you're back into that early 90s vintage.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, we'd only gain 10 years on a truck that's 30 years old. And it doesn't make a lot of sense to, you know, the best thing that you can find is you can find someone, if you can find a nice used chassis, you might be able to find somebody to build a thing on the back, a new tank on the back of them, but that's just a shot in the dark on whether you can even find one. With less than, I mean, even looking for just chassis, finding one under 75,000 miles is a stretch. And obviously a new one, you get a warranty, you get a lot more reliability out of it, so.
And we've had pretty good luck with internationals. There's a couple little things that went wrong over the years, and they'll come right up, grab the truck, or we'll take it down, so the service is great. And that, and, you know, in the fire department, that's a good thing to have.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know.
Would anybody be opposed to waiting till after town meeting, obviously, to make sure that the money's approved, but give them preliminary approval to draft up their specs to go out to bid? So as soon as town meeting, if they approve that money, Dan can have time to do his homework and make sure we have the money in the capital to pay for it. But does that sound like the game plan? And then give them approval to put it out to bid after town meeting?
Yeah, they could go bid
Right.
anytime, I mean, bid's just a bid, so we know what's.
And the reality of it is, you could go to bid tomorrow,
Yeah, right,
but we couldn't approve any bids until after town meeting.
Correct.
So if you guys, I mean, I would say,
yeah,
go to work.
yeah.
Frank's got an input.
What is the town debt free?
We're debt-free now.
Right. Okay, that's what I
We're
thought.
past the warrant, though. If we wanted to take out a loan for that,
Yeah,
then we would have to have a special town meeting
okay.
in order to borrow money. And we approved a capital replacement plan 3 years ago. So we put money constantly away just for this sort of thing.
Right.
And in the past, we've kind of Last year for one of the town trucks, we put something off for a year to buy the town truck. I mean, so the money's there.
Yeah.
It's just how we spend that money.
Well, it's great that you're debt free too.
Absolutely, and we're not paying an interest rate.
Not a lot of towns that can say that.
Right.
No, very
There's very few. So, I guess what I would say to you is, put together your spec and put it out to bid for new.
Do you feel, we should go with buying the chassis ourselves, or, I mean, do what works for us, or?
My opinion is you're the professionals at it.
Yeah. The same thing I was gonna say is, you guys have more experience in this than we do.
I bet you know more about it than we do.
So wherever we can get the biggest bang for our buck, I think it would make sense.
Okay.
Wherever you think it can come in cheaper, I would say.
Yeah.
Getting the right product.
Right, yeah,
So,
good, well, thank you.
just make sure the bids don't,
You and Timmy do it like you were paying for it.
just make sure the
That's
bids
all we
don't,
ask.
make sure the bids don't close until after
Well,
town
you
meeting.
are.
Where we at, people?
You are.
Good. Okay, well, thank you, all set with us?
So,
Thanks a
thanks.
lot.
All right, have a good
Thanks for
evening.
coming in, thanks for coming in.
You better try to go to yourself now.
Yeah. Truck proposal, and we're not talking about a fire truck this time.
Yes.
Dan?
So we got the numbers in from O'Connor's and from Hawks. O'Connor's estimate was about $7,000, and Hawks came in at anywhere from 6,500 to 8,000, depending on when we decided we wanted to make a decision. And Alan said he thought they could find plenty of good deals for that cost point.
So let's back up. This is
Yep.
because of the new pickup will be here next week for the
Right,
town.
right.
And we kind of kicked the can down the road at the time and said, we'll discuss it
What
when
to do
that
with the
time
old one.
comes, what to do with it. I mean,
This is what we're gonna do with the old pickup.
right.
Right.
So, in my opinion, we have two options. Correct me if I'm wrong, but, sell it and be done with it.
Right.
Or trade it and get a car for code enforcement and for the employees when they go on trainings and stuff.
Yep.
And that's where he gets into the Allen down to Hawk Motors.
Yep.
Right.
About trading basically that truck for an economical car.
Yep.
So, I mean, I don't think that the Public Works feels that we need to keep that pickup for anything. So, I mean, it would be kinda useless to keep the pickup.
Yeah, no, I don't think.
And at this
inclined to
point
keep
in
that.
its life, it's
Right.
coming on to maintenance and it does not get good
And
mileage.
that would not be a good vehicle for the office staff or something to take to Augusta or something for training.
No.
By no means. So, we could avoid all of our mileage costs if we had a car. But you're going to have maintenance costs. I mean, I say that because, I mean, when we
Well-
had this debate before in defense of Chuck, that was his concern, was the maintenance costs, and he's right, we will have maintenance costs.
We have a training van at the water district. I mean, it's been with us 10 years now. Now granted, at this point in time, we're probably looking in fairly short time that we're gonna replace it. But we are gonna replace it because it's got value. And it's got quite a bit of value for us. I can't see, with all the employees that the town of Boothbay has and code enforcement running daily, that it couldn't be a benefit to the town of Boothbay too. It's my own opinion, but I think, and not only that, it kind of gets away that image of seeing personal vehicles up at the fuel depot fueling up their own vehicles, even though they're completely legit when they do so. You'd see a town of Boothbay vehicle up there fueling up all the time.
Well, didn't Jim, as well as you, look at the cost either way and the mileage that you're paying for
Yeah.
you or Laurie or anyone to go, or Tracy
For
go
any
for
one of those
training?
training sessions.
It's less expensive to have their own vehicle.
Yeah, I can speak for myself. You'd be anywhere from $1,800 to $2,200 a year
For travel
for
expense.
mileage. That's just
One.
one code officer. I know Tracy has a lot. Tammy's gonna have a lot. She's still getting up to speed now. Most of the training is Augusta if you're lucky.
Right.
So.
Westbrook, Portland, whoever.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, the numbers do work, obviously depending on the maintenance, but, if you're talking about, a Cobalt or something similar, sure.
And I'm wondering, and of course now I'm gonna shoot myself in the foot here, but I'm wondering if a van isn't necessarily maybe a possible way to go, because that way if the guys if Public Works wanted to go to, the construction depot, show they put on every year in Augusta, you could literally pile them all up in one vehicle and send them down the road.
The only problem with a van is then you're getting out of the price range that we can make an even swap. I mean, the even swap part of it is for a
And we
small
was
to
talking
mid-size
about
car.
Water department's got one,
Mid-size.
right?
Yeah, we can probably take a look at what they could put together.
See what he could get
um,
for it, yeah.
What vehicles they have in that price range, or, and I know Alan goes often to the shows.
Right,
do
to the
bids.
auctions.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's a possibility you could have multiple options, I would assume.
Right.
I think the decision we're here to make tonight, though, is are we gonna sell it or are we gonna trade it in?
Right.
I personally think a town of Boothbay training vehicle, daily vehicle, use vehicle is intelligent, but,
I think there's very few days it won't be used.
right, same here.
Well, I bet if Dan went through the records to find out, you said, yours was 1,800. If you found out what everybody's travel expenses was for the year, it'd be quite a chunk of change.
Yeah, I bet you'd be approaching the low end of.
Right, you're at the 6,000, 6,500 for
Yeah.
everybody,
I would
Yeah.
have to say it would probably be somewhere around there, and I would recommend that the vehicle itself
Right, or-
is used for training over code, because code is gonna be more of a local thing, whereas those are gonna be
Right.
long trips, when it does come time. I
Right.
mean, if that was the decision you.
I think it makes sense to.
Oh, I do too. And the other thing, the other thing is too, you could literally just do a trade-in on a new vehicle. Like we've already said repeatedly, the town of Boothbay is debt-free. If we actually took out a car loan, in the big scheme of things, it's pennies of what we're shelling out in the course of a year.
But we cannot do that without town meeting,
Right, never mind.
Expenditure.
right? I mean, that would be
No, I get it.
anytime you take out a loan,
Yep.
so.
Well, it's not the end of the world.
No.
No, but I mean, it's expensive to have a special town meeting,
Right, you waste it on the other side.
right? I mean, you gotta do all the advertising and all that.
You're paying all the overtime.
If we took the truck we have now and trade it for a low to mid-mileage
I would say-
sedan and try it out, then we'll know at the end of that
Right.
if it's worth trading it in for a new one.
I mean, we're not out a lot of
How well it
money
works out.
by trying it.
Yeah.
We're
Well,
really
in
not.
fact, you should be fairly close in value.
Right.
In other words, if you decided that it wasn't worth the risk, then yes, you would then have the option to
Right.
But
sell
that-
the,
But that first year, we're almost spending the same amount of money converting the vehicle into a vehicle or paying everybody in mileage, so
Right.
you're out nothing.
Right.
right, and you still
Loss.
have real value at the end of
Right.
the day.
So I would say, see what you can put together.
See, I'll go down to Alan and see what options we would have.
Yep.
Okay.
Do you wanna give him that authority, or make him come back to us? If we're gonna give him the authority, it should be a motion.
Give them the authority to make the decision or
Yep.
bring it back to, I don't necessarily care. I mean, I think, my own personal opinion is Dan's intelligent enough to make a good decision.
Right.
So in that case, I'll make a motion to give Dan the authority to not only find out what our options are, but then to make a selection of what vehicle would be a worthwhile trade for the pickup
If he
truck.
thinks one's appropriate to do it.
Correct.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor? Done.
Saying it is.
Yes. Camaro.
Mustang.
Corvette.
I'm a town boy, right?
Cherry red, I think, right?
Mark Ironman contract.
So just to kind of give everybody a brief history here. Mark Ironman is the planner. We hired to work with the comp plan, the comp plan. I asked him to give me a brief synopsis of, well, all right, to go even further back. It was brought to my attention that Mark hadn't been paid in over a year, not, mainly because he's gone beyond his contract, his contractual obligation. And you can see in the paperwork that he put together, I think, did I give you his contract?
I don't have enough.
So here's a list with some of the numbers that he's put together. These are where they've gone above and beyond.
I have one, so.
You don't have one?
Yeah, I don't have it.
He was brought on in 13, the contract ran to 14, and here we are in 15. And I think, essentially, you can get to the, if you get to the second page, he's, kind of gives you a brief synopsis of why we're where we are at right now. It's been a long process. I don't think anyone anticipated it would be as long as it is. One of the members of the comp plan, when they found out that Mark had gone past his initial contract, thought it might be wise to at least broach the subject with the Board of Selectmen, just to see should there be further compensation from Mark.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, but it says at a billing rate of $120 an hour, that's $25,000, and is that what he's asking for?
Yeah, essentially one more billing cycle. It's actually beyond, it actually went almost 2.5 times the original contract.
I have a little bit of a hard time.
Now, I'll tell you this, Mark has not said a word to anyone, and he hasn't been griping. If someone hadn't asked him in one of the meetings, might not have even known about this.
But a contract is a contract.
Mhm.
This is where Chuck being here could be because he's been part of it.
In his original contract, it does state from January 1, 13 to January 1, 14.
Yeah, but
Don't you come back on January 2, 14 and say, well, my contract's expired and I'd like to
Yeah, and
renegotiate?
this is the part where I don't know what the conversation was before. I'm stepping into this position. I was requested to speak to you by one of the committee members,
Right.
Because he thought it was worth addressing.
I don't dare to speak too much to it until Chuck's here, because I mean, Chuck's a lot more familiar with the whole process because he's been part of it from the get-go.
Yep.
I mean, we've paid him $30,000
Correct.
already.
Yep.
And that's what we gave him the contract for. There was other people that bid, if I remember correctly, and we chose him because he was the cheapest and the best. So if we add another $25,000 onto that, that would have made him the most expensive.
Well, I don't remember bids, maybe you do, but,
No, I don't, wait,
but still, it would certainly, if not put him one of the most, it would put him up there as far as one of the most expensive.
I
so,
could try to do a little research there and see if we have bid numbers.
I mean, I don't really, that's really not the point. I mean, the only point that I have is a contract is just what it is a contract.
Mhm.
But it also has a, but it also,
Contracted to work a year, or was he contracted to complete the plan?
well, I think that's the
Good question.
wording that I'm worried
That's
about.
what's gonna matter.
Right.
Right?
And that's the kind of wording in the contract that matters. But at the same token, if there's a start and an end date on that contract, then as of January 2nd of 2014, or actually really the midnight of January 1, 2014, he should have come back to us and said, well, my contract's expired, where do you want me to go from here?
And that may have been a discussion.
I realize that there is a
That's something I would
possibility.
have to find out, if that discussion had kind of been ongoing.
So, but the other thing, there's two things I think we had, one, did that conversation take place? And two, really, I think the most important is, what was the contract for? Was the contract for January 1 of 2014, or was the contract for completion of the comp plan?
I can tell you, I talked to Chucky this morning, just when he had called to tell me he wasn't sure if he was gonna make the meeting tonight. And he speaks very highly of Mark Ironman, and said that he speaks so well of him that, he would recommend at a later date of hiring him to help implement the changing in our zoning ordinance.
which would probably be smart since he's
But,
worked
And
individually. with-
he did touch on this a little bit, but again, without him here speaking to it,
So, let me ask this, would it be wise to see if I can have Mark come and just kind of explain a little history on his behalf?
Well, I would like to see the
Read
contract
the
first.
Okay,
Because, and if he isn't asking for it, he hasn't personally asked for this money. I have a hard time cutting somebody a check for 25 grand that, because we feel bad for him.
yes.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah,
We need to read the contract to see where
Absolutely.
we stand
Just follow
before,
what the contract says. That's-
before we
doesn't
even
matter. This
listen.
guy, that guy.
right, exactly, I agree. But if the contract, I mean, I am,
Then you have a different.
right,
If it says, if it's just for.
2004.
time period, Then somebody should have the discussion of where do we go from here?
right.
You don't just keep going and keep cutting
Right.
on.
So
Well-
I think the first thing we need to do is see a copy of this contract.
And I should probably check, actually, this would be a good idea to check the budget to see if we had, that would be another indicator that that conversation had been ongoing.
Yeah,
Because it should,
it should have showed in 14, 15.
But you know what? I find it hard to believe that we would pay him his full 30,000 up front. I'm thinking that we're sitting on probably half of that until it's finished. Usually you pay half and half, or quarter, and then you'll hold something until the end, till you get your finished
I was
product.
here for those meetings. I remember the figure, 27, I think. I don't think anybody thought it was gonna be done in a year.
Yeah, I don't either. But again,
Doesn't
without
matter,
seeing
it's all
that's
right
right.
somewhere, just on
Right,
the contract.
absolutely. So I guess we'll table that for now.
Got them somewhere.
So now, next we have an application for a pole location approximately 300 feet easterly of Ocean Point Road, which is in our packets.
We should have asked Dicky if that was gonna bother the fire station any while we had it here. Has he seen this?
I don't think he has.
Who submitted the application?
CMP.
CMP?
Although this is 300 feet from the road, so that's beyond the fire station.
Yeah.
And it's placement of pole 3, so that must mean they're
they've
replacing
got
the
a-
pole?
Yeah. Yeah, this is
See, their
just a straight.
little drawing here doesn't show where the buildings are.
Yeah.
But if it's just a pole replacement, if it's gonna be
Right.
right where
Yeah.
it is now.
Right.
No, this is pretty low level. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Just,
I'm surprised they even have to fill out a permit for a replacement.
I know.
They've already got it.
But see, that's where the pole's gonna be. It's on the other side of the road, beyond the fire station, because it's obviously, looks like by the parking lot.
15 feet from the center line, 300 feet from the
it may
center
have
line, and
something to do
96.
with notifications and whatnot
Right.
for the municipalities.
So,
It's just like a work order.
yep, he needs our approval to do it.
So moved.
Seconded.
Motion been made and seconded to approve the Northern New England Telephone Operations LLC for a poll. More comments? All those in favor? Is this the, who, that's you?
You have the.
I have the original,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
What John likes, right, all that shuffling paper?
Hmm?
John Treese out back. He loves the sound of all
Oh,
that
yeah, he
shuffling
does.
paper.
On that microphone. That's just mean. Okay, we'll move on to we have an Ulmer Fund request. We also have, Dan was nice enough to give us a copy of how much is in the Ulmer Fund. That's $72,315.16.
What is he over from?
So a woman had donated
Great question.
$50,000 long ago to a secondary education, I believe is how it's worded, right?
High school.
Okay.
Strictly high school.
To
Yep.
further secondary education.
So,
It's actually, and I'm glad you asked, Brent, because I feel as though not enough people know about it, for two reasons. One, the use of the fund, and one, I don't think people knew that they probably could donate to the fund. So, and that's something I was gonna talk with Bill about a little later, maybe just kind of letting people know about this, because I think it's a fantastic resource to have.
Can you tell us about it then?
Yeah, it's there for Booth Bay high school students, to use for anything that would further their education. That may be a tutor, that may be some books. In some instances, it may be some money for a trip to go to a place that you may never get to go again, like.
It's been used several times for the GAP program.
Right.
Yep.
Like Ocean Classroom?
Yes, we gave money to that as well. You have to be a Booth Bay resident,
Yep.
and we cannot spend the $50,000 seed money. There was $50,000 that she
It operates
donated.
off the interest.
Can it be used to help a Booth Bay senior with college expenses? or-
No,
No,
No.
strictly high school.
Has to be while they're in high school?
while they're in high school.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
With this particular one, we did give him money last year for the same. So we've never had the case come up of giving to the same kid twice.
Who is the student who's father?
Bradley Drummond. Oh, sorry, Daniel Drummond.
Daniel Drummond?
Yeah.
Daniel Drummond.
And do they give it what they want to use it for?
Yeah, I just read the
Yeah.
synopsis on the back. He's looking for basically plane tickets to Germany because
It's the
he's gonna
GAP program again. He did the same thing last year, I believe. I know that we had given, didn't we give to both the
think-
children, like his,
yeah, I think
his
both
him
the
and his
Drummond-
brother last
be
year?
on the board.
And he wants to do it again?
He did receive money last year.
Yes.
He did.
Yeah, he did.
I don't know, I guess I'm on the fence, but not really. I mean, you're a different year in school. It's a different juncture, now, you know what I mean? It's a different junction of what he's doing. Compared to some of the other ones we've given out before, it's a relatively small amount.
We've limited it $1,000 before, I believe.
Two,
I think so.
I thought it was
I think it
two.
was 1,000 or 1,200.
It was 12 or
12.
15, I think was the most we have ever given. I can't remember what that was.
I don't know, thoughts?
I really don't know.
I don't again, I guess it's me, maybe if this became an abusive thing, we could set a policy at some point in time that,
We talk every time one of these comes up about creating a policy for this, and we've just never have because we get so few,
right,
and it happens so sporadic that we just never, I don't know. I
it kind
mean,
of falls off the radar as soon
Because
as
if we approve it, we're setting precedent. But yet I don't want to turn the kid down for that stupid reason.
Well, we're not setting a precedent yet, we don't have a policy.
Yeah.
If he sets a precedent for us, then all of a sudden we'll create a policy.
And did the Almond Fund rules?
There are none.
Well, just,
Very,
you can't use.
a broad brush.
You can't use the initial 50. It has to operate off the interest, and then those, what we talked about earlier. It has to be Booth Bay high schooler.
Did it give any sort of mission statement or the spirit that it should be spent in, or?
It just needs to further their education. Now, I know at one time, I think there was a committee.
Okay, well, I've never heard of a committee, that's the first I've
Way
heard of
back.
this.
No, the committee was, I had inquired about that many, and it was John and,
Foster.
I don't think so, John had explained to me, or I think it was John that had explained it to me, that it was John and Eileen, I think. Or John and whoever was there before Eileen. It was very,
Mark?
but the problem is nobody ever knew about it. So it was only people that was in a certain circle that knew.
Yeah.
And,
And I think this is why this kid has an opportunity to apply for it twice, because he knows about it.
well, but you know, I guess I was leaning towards no, okay? But when you read $850, and when you read this and it says, you know, my mom's working 29 hours, and his brother's now in college and having to pay them expenses is a real need. I work hard in the summer, and, I mean,
He's gonna pick up the rest of the expense. He's looking for basically, they gotta buy the plane ticket shortly, and he wants to cough up $850, and he can't earn it yet. I don't.
It's all the criteria, right?
yeah, I agree.
Move we approve.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor? Done. I think that still has to go through.
Pass the word around.
Well, I
Yes.
think probably when the people find out about it, you utilize it.
Well, you know,
We
we,
keep
Not
trying
just
it.
utilize, but, I mean,
Yeah, donate.
folks should donate to this. It's
Yeah.
great fun, great idea. There's no reason we
Student aid
couldn't,
fund and all
Yeah.
that stuff, so.
yeah, just one more mechanism for the region.
I think this still has to go through the warrant process, I believe.
Oh, I think so. I think I have to process that through, just like anything
Mhm.
else. We'll have to put that through.
yeah, so to me, we have to sign off on
This
it.
is
Right.
next.
Because I don't think it's a separate checking account. I think it's all
It's in our big account. but
Right.
it's
broken
separate.
out, right?
Correct.
And then we have one more thing that's not on the agenda.
This is the second public comment you're talking about?
Nope. We have a release of lien
Yes.
for map R7 lot 32-B02. We have a completed, up-to-date.
Correct.
R7,
No, yeah, map R7 lot 32-B is in Bob 02. I'll entertain a motion to sign the release deed.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? I can't believe I even remembered that.
Me neither.
Okay, that's it for new business unless you have anything else.
Nothing else.
Next public comment?
Yeah, anything, any news that you can release or give us on how the town manager search is going?
We had interviews a week and a half ago, a week ago. We meet again with MMA on the 14th. And then shortly after that, we'll have either narrowed it down or picked, I guess I would say. That's about all we'll,
So you feel that you're gonna be able to pick from the pool that you have, or is there a chance that just?
yeah,
none of it works?
probably.
Okay.
I mean, that's,
But what's the purpose of the meeting on the 14th? Is it just go over your options? Do you have 3 candidates or 4 possible candidates? Just 3?
that's it. That was easy.
I'm gonna have a question.
Not gonna push you.
No.
Well, I have one that, a month or so ago, I kind of got tossed back into the ambulance budget committee. Frosty has accepted a job in Alaska, so we need a representative from Booth Bay, so I've been attending. Now, granted, it took me a little while to get up to speed, but short few meetings that I've been there, we've discussed about doing a joint workshop, I guess you'd refer to it as, with the selectmen from Southport, Booth Bay, and Booth Bay Harbor, to kind of get together and discuss the ambulance, maybe needs, the facility, the whole operation is kind of changing slowly but surely, and there's some, I don't know if you want to, contentions, but we would all like to get together as all boards, the whole peninsula down here, and have this discussion with them, so everybody's on the same page, and so hopefully we're gonna try to pull that off. I think, what's his name, Scott Lash was gonna try to set that up. I don't know if it's actually come to fruition or not yet. He sent out a doodle poll, and I've filled out my portion of it. I don't know who else has done it so far. Just informational for the people out there.
Sorry, I just found the original Fairpoint contract that we have to sign, the
Oh.
poll permit application that we have to sign, so I just wanna make sure we do it right, so we don't get a call from Bonnie.
So can you all stop in tomorrow and re-sign this?
Okay, and we have another one here too. This was the Booth Bay Harbor
The hearing.
Country Club. Okay, any more public?
I got some more questions.
Absolutely.
And what are the plans for paving this year?
What do you mean,
When you talk about paving proposals, we have some roads.
Beath Road,
Beath Road?
Beath Road.
Beath, B-E-A-T-H.
Yeah.
Stevie Lewis Road.
Yeah, Jesus, don't print that.
Well, we put him off last year, so we can't do it again.
Pave that.
It's about a mile, but a lot of it's gotta be dug. I think they're gonna, not dig, but regrind it. think was the
Grind
plan.
it and culvert and
It's
ditch.
just, yeah, it's in a
The
mess.
base was never right.
How much have you budgeted for the project?
200,000, I think we budget for paving every year, right?
Yeah, they're about,
I wanna say
220,
it's
I think.
220 every
220.
year, and I don't know what's the estimate that,
right, because Beath Road's not all of it, but Beath Road's the
Majority-
lion's share.
Majority of it, yeah. Because of all the work that needs to be done. It's-
but we haven't got.
It's not just an
revised
overlay.
estimate. We have a projected estimate from the previous year.
When do you expect to start it?
Oh, that won't be till probably August or September
Yeah.
usually.
We usually do it late summer or fall, early fall.
We're just looking, what Dan had give us tonight was last year's prices
Right.
with a projection of this year. But since then, oil has gone from $100 a barrel to 50. So
What type of truck that you have that you're looking to sell a trade?
Pickup
Truck.
for Public Works, Chevy, GMC. I believe.
GMC.
GMC? How many miles on it?
Oh, good lord, I have no idea.
I don't, I
You
can.
know what year it is? I got you all.
2000,
Yeah, you
it's a
can contact me
2002 or
tomorrow.
3.
I can get all that information for you.
Okay. And on Mark Ironman's contract, did you pay that before you started, or?
No. I'm sure it was broken up in disbursements, but I don't know the precise,
You paid 30,000?
yes.
Does that include travel, or is it separate?
I think that was
It
all
was a,
inclusive.
it was a
I
set
think
figure.
that was factored into the contract.
Okay. Well, it's all one month.
Correct, yep.
Okay, and sometime tomorrow, can you find information about the owner fund, like our first name?
Yeah, sure, yep.
Should I stop in, or should I call you?
Yeah, if you could just call ahead, just in case.
I'll give you a call. When's a good time to call?
You can call at me anytime.
Okay. That's it. Thank you. Very helpful.
That's all?
Oh, one more thing before you do close up. I did get a piece of paper from Mike LaBerge regarding the sidewalk project, so that came in yesterday. So that process hopefully is gonna continue along. Other than this, we're kind of in a holding pattern still, waiting for them. They've got a few other items that they're going through, but once I get that paper out to them, we've met our obligations to this point.
Like LaBerge DOT?
LaBerge?
LaBerge is the DOT?
He is. Yep, Bureau of Project Development. Yeah, he's been the point man that we operate with.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to review the warrants and sign them upon review.
So moved?
Second,
All those in favor?
Motion to adjourn?
second.
All those in favor?